And we're recording.
Hey guys.
Hey everyone.
Welcome back
Mario
to
Kart.
Mario Kart Monday.
My favorite Monday of all days.
Guess what we did today?
Guess what we did? Guess what today's topic is? You're right. It's Desu Noto.
Desu Noto.
Now, I don't know if you've all watched the live action Netflix adaptation.
If you have,
of Death
or
Note.
if you haven't, don't.
If you have, I hope you have a lot of sour apple pucker at the ready.
Well, we're gonna talk about that today. We're gonna be like the nostalgia critic. We watched it so you don't have to.
We're gonna be like the nostalgia critic, except good.
Burn.
Who wears a fucking necktie and a baseball cap at the same time? That's fucking a fashion disaster.
So, where to begin?
Chelsea,
Oh boy.
you know, nowadays a lot of important film critics usually give like thumbs up or stars out of 5. So I'm just wondering how many stars out of 5 you would have given Death Note 2017.
I would give it -50 out of 5.
Interesting, that seems low.
Yeah, it's a little low.
So I mean, I think it'd only be fair if you explained your rating, because I think the people at home want to know why you would rate
Okay.
this movie so low.
It's real bad. It's just, it's real bad.
It's real bad, sure. But for why was it real bad?
Oh, it was like bad on multiple levels. It was bad as an adaptation. It was bad on its own like standalone self-worth, if you even not taking into account the original material. And it was just like characterization was poor, writing, dialogue was poor, special effects weren't very good. Soundtrack was kind of laughable at times.
Okay.
When it wasn't supposed to be.
So I want to ask you, as a professional in the medium of film. Now, I think it's too easy to explain why it's bad as an adaptation. So pretending it's its own standalone film, why is Death Note 2017 bad?
Just really boring. Like, and a lot of the plot didn't make a whole lot of sense in terms of like character motivation, and especially on like, okay, so you can't really 100% go about it without mentioning the adaptation bits, because I feel like a lot of the parts that were on its own bad were because you could tell they were trying to, like, bits that they only put in because it was in the original or it was similar to what was in the original,
right?
But didn't make sense in the version that they were doing. Like L, mainly everything he did.
Now I am curious as to what you might be thinking of, because the movie I watched, the character named L didn't seem to do anything.
Yeah.
Is the main
Well, that was kind
problem.
of it. It felt like he did some stuff because it was in the original, or he did stuff similar to what was in the original, but because they changed a lot of stuff, what he did didn't really actually help anything and didn't make a whole lot of sense. You know?
Right.
Also, not that anyone cares, but I'm a little tipsy, so I'm not gonna do a good job driving. Don't drink and drive.
What are you talking about? This is fruit juice. This is a sober channel.
Don't watch Death Note 2017 unless you have copious amounts of alcohol. And if you're underage, then just don't watch it.
Don't watch Death Note 2017 unless you go to Bevo and buy almost $100 worth of alcohol. Well, I mean, let's try and focus on the positives of Death Note 2017.
Like what? Oh, that's a lot of Yoshi.
It had Willem Dafoe in it.
But, like, even that wasn't good because he was barely in it.
That's true.
And then when he was
also,
in it...
he was supposed to be, like, the bad guy.
Yeah, they changed... Like, one of the big things they changed in it... Like, okay, I'm not gonna be very coherent because I drank a lot. But one of the main things in the original Death Note was the idea that even though there's this scary Shinigami guy who gives Light the Death Note, Ryuk just kind of is an observer. He doesn't actually do anything. He's just bored and wants to have a good time. So he literally doesn't influence any of Light's decisions. All of Light's decisions are his own because he's the real monster of the story, not Ryuk. Ryuk's just kind of there. But in this one, they're like, oh, let's make the scary demon guy the bad guy. And that kind of goes into another reason that it was bad, was because they took a story that was sort of like psychological detective mystery cat and mouse thriller and decided to turn it into more of a American horror type story. But then they didn't even do that though, because it wasn't actually scary. It was like there were some gruesome deaths and that was it.
Yeah.
It wasn't there wasn't, like, the only one who was scared was Light when Ryuk first showed up. Yeah. And only for like 2 minutes.
That was one of my favorite parts of the movie, when Light was scared about Ryuk.
And he screamed like a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty good.
I really liked watching that character get taken down a peg.
And, like, they kind of tried to bring in Light's holier-than-thou thing, which was sort of his main, like, his hubris was his downfall and shit in the original. But, like, they also tried to make him more relatable by making him sort of
downtrodden.
Yeah, like, I wouldn't say like an everyday type of person, because he was clearly very, like, Hot Topic emo guy.
Yeah.
But at the same, like, he literally in his locker had I don't know if it was his locker or Misa's locker, but in one of their lockers, one of them had, like, one of those dumb, normal people scare me demotivational things that's like you would see with an emo 12-year-old would have. It was just real bad.
It was just very
like, honestly, when they announced they were doing an American version of Death Note, and I said this like from the beginning kinda, I thought the only way they might have not ruined it was if they just took the concept of Death Note and maybe some of the themes of it and then made it an original story that they couldn't really fuck up too badly. And in a way, it almost felt like they did that, because the characters were all very different from how they usually are in the original.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that, because they had, like, similar names and stuff. So they were clearly supposed to, and, like, the general plot line was similar. So they clearly weren't, it wasn't like an original story.
Not even a little bit. Yeah. I mean, it was barely a story.
Yeah. So it was just like, why?
To make that sweet money, baby.
How do they make money, though, through Netflix?
I mean, I'm wondering who. Well, like, I don't know, honestly. I'm wondering who, honestly, wanted to watch that. You know, sincerely. Mm-hmm. Seeing as how it was so terrible.
Right.
It didn't seem like it was for people who are fans of Death Note
at
all. So, like, who is this movie for, even?
Yeah.
It seemed like they were trying to, like, get a broad viewership with this film.
Yeah.
Sort of with its, you know, how they tried to make Light a more...
relatable?
Quote-unquote relatable character. But I don't know. I don't think anyone felt that way.
Yeah. The problem was, like, they tried to make... I feel like they tried to make Light more relatable, but they didn't succeed.
Yeah.
Because he was also, like... It was hard to tell if he was supposed to be, like, a normal people scare me, emo, hot topic guy.
Mm-hmm.
Or if he was supposed to be, like, everyday Joe... the little guy kind of just trying to be a hero type of thing.
Right. Well, the problem is that he like zigzagged a bunch in his character. It's like part of the time
it was not consistent.
It was like some of the time he was like, I'm a god, I'm a emo god, and then the other time he was like, I'm just a guy.
Yeah.
Don't kill my dad.
Yeah.
Which
also, like, obviously a big part of the original is that Light is very intelligent. He's a genius that can be on par with L, the greatest detective in the world. But in this one, he's like he's smart, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they suggest that he's smart.
He does those kids' homework.
He does those other kids' homework, but he's not actually smart.
Well, but the problem is that neither is L, really.
Yeah, like, L didn't do shit. Oh, no.
Chelsea.
I'm not paying attention.
They're not like, they're not like playing this, like, game of hyper chess, really, with each other. So much as they are, like, barely competent enough to keep up with each other's dumbass moves.
Like, when they first met face-to-face, or, no, even before that, when L first meets Light's dad, and he's all like, you have something none of the other cops have. I almost thought he was gonna say, like, your son is Kira. I know this because he's the dumbass and not good at hiding his trail.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, honestly, Misa's character was more similar to the original Light than Light's character was.
Oh, absolutely.
Because she actually was more like a bit of a sociopathic, like, wants to...
What she's... you already eat shit, you piece of fucking garbage.
Because Misa was the one, or Mia.
Yeah, as she
can't
was
have
called
can't have an American white girl named Misa. She was the one who was actually more like, yeah, let's actually use this Death Note to try to make the world a better place in their eyes, and become the god of the new world. And when Light gets in trouble later, she's the one who actually, like, thought ahead and did shit so that they didn't get caught immediately.
Yeah.
Like, the only time Light acted like Light was at the very end when he had that plan, which was, like, sort of reminiscent of what Light does.
Yeah.
His whole, like, oh, I did all this shit ahead of time and only explain it later, so the audience thinks I'm smart.
Mm-hmm.
But also it came out of left field. Like, if you weren't familiar with Death Note and you saw that and suddenly he did that at the end, I would have been like, where did this come from?
Yeah, exactly.
You want to play?
No.
RD wants you to play?
RD wants you to here.
Oh. We're not doing that till Extra Life.
Oh.
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 Well, now we're really not doing it.
Here. Now press A.
RD, donate to our Patreon.
Yeah, donate to our Patreon. Here, we're Waluigi.
Oh, okay.
That's good. I want these tires in this thing. Perfect.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna crush it. This one. What did everyone else pick? The stupid Bowser level? Fuck them. Idiots.
It looks like a lot of Rainbow Road in the Cloud one. RD says, Clark, the bastard dog, liked how whitewashed it is.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
I was super psyched. I was like, hell yeah. All these characters are very good and compelling.
Yeah, I really liked how Watari was the only Asian character
who was not Asian
in the original. He's like English in the original. Oh.
Why does this keep happening?
I think it's your fault.
How is it my fault?
It can sense you don't like Mario Kart.
I am giving off nothing but positive vibes. I don't want to be Waluigi anymore.
Oh, too bad.
No, this one.
Also, as much as I like the casting of Willem Dafoe for Ryuk, I gotta admit his cackle was not as good as the voice actor in the anime.
Well, I mean, like, that was bad, and also they did a lot of hiding the CG.
They didn't have the budget to have him in it very much. And when he was in it, he was never, like, clear.
Yeah.
RD wants you to notice him, senpai. You jerk. Have fun.
Thanks. I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Turn. Trigger is your mushroom.
Gotcha.
And I'm drifting for you when you turn.
Alright. Nope. I'm doing my best here.
Nope.
I don't know what I did wrong there exactly.
When you're using your paraglider, it's pilot controls.
Oh, okay.
Oop. So many stars!
Just stay like this the whole time.
Maybe we should add this to our extra life.
I'm trying to play Mario Kart with both of us.
Yeah, we're already doing it with other games. Spoilers, you guys. Look forward to that. Oop.
I like kind of know how to play those other games.
Yeah.
As opposed to this one where I like have no idea what I'm doing.
So what are your thoughts?
Tell us what you thought of Desu Noto.
I was referring to you.
Oh.
I feel like I've been talking more.
It was unbelievably bad.
Yeah.
It was a bad movie.
Yeah.
It was a bad adaptation.
Uh-huh.
I was so bored. I didn't give a shit about the characters because, like, they were either, like, the really dumbest archetypes possible for any movie, or they were, like, not established as characters I needed to give a shit about.
Right.
So...
Oh, man. The intro to the movie was great. Where he just is just emo-ly kind of doing another kid's homework, and the Death Note just falls there.
Yeah. I mean, that's absolutely, like... That's next level shit.
He's just like, oh, okay, cool.
Why are my tires sideways?
Because you were in the anti-gravity area.
Why?
Because it's cool.
That's cool. Here you go.
Thanks. RD says it was better than the manga and anime combined.
He doesn't know that he's wrong.
We should ban him. You're banned, RD.
You're exiled from the chat.
Where's Greta? Greta, come and ban RD.
Hey RD, you want to be an extra life? We're playing Mario Party. You're invited.
Yeah, we'll unban you for that.
Yeah.
Also, like, I feel like, I guess if I'm trying to give constructive criticism over what they might have done better, other than just saying, like, everything.
I think my constructive criticism would be watch the anime.
Yeah. I feel like if they had, there was no reason they couldn't have had them, Misa and Light, already in a relationship.
Yeah.
And it would have made a lot more sense if he found the Death Note, and then, because they were already dating, then he showed it to her. And was like, hey, check out this cool thing I got. But no, they, like, barely know each other. And he's just like, oh, I'm still Waluigi. And then he's just like, hey, you want to... Literally, that was one of those so bad it's funny scenes where he was just like, I can't... She's like, what you got there? And he's like, I can't show it to you. And she's like, oh, okay. And then he literally 1 second later is like, do you really want to see it? And it's just like, are you 12?
I was like having a hard time because that felt like a funny moment, like a goof them up joke moment. But it didn't make any sense in like the context of the film. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm really weighed down by what Death Note is supposed to be. But even as a standalone film, I feel like, you know, throughout the entire rest of the film, the mood is very, you know, serious and dour and about this intense criminal.
Yeah.
And then, like, throughout the film, it's peppered with, like, this flippancy. Like, these characters don't actually give a shit about the roles they're supposed to play.
Right. I mean, I feel like a part of it is that it's set when they're in high school instead of, like, actual Death Note where it starts in high school, but only for very briefly, and then he goes to college.
Yeah.
Is that it sort of, I guess, shows that they're in the period of their life where they are not very mature and they don't understand consequences much and stuff. But it's like, it doesn't make it good or anything.
Well, it's like, yeah, you're right, but I don't want to fucking watch that.
Yeah.
If I wanted to watch some, like, dipshit... Fucking, what just happened?
I slipped on a banana.
If I wanted to watch some idiot, like, fuck around in, like, high school for a while, I had to watch any high school movies from the 80s.
Yeah.
And that's what it was, like, kind of trying to be, right? Its whole soundtrack was, like...
Yeah, the soundtrack was so weird.
The soundtrack was full of these retro synthesis elements, which were, like, very 80s. And yet, it felt like it was also trying to be taken seriously, like... It was trying to evoke a dumb idiot retro 80s, like, high school movie, like Rat Pack shit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was like, this is a fucking serious movie about, well, who gets to decide who lives and dies.
Yeah, it certainly felt like it couldn't quite know... It didn't quite know what genre it was supposed to be.
No, it didn't quite know what genre it was supposed to be.
Why didn't they introduce L the same way they did the anime? 'Cause they're dumb!
I don't know. I mean, like, probably a little bit because they're trying to squeeze a lot of story into not enough time.
Oh man, that montage where he, like, starts killing all the criminals around the world and becomes famous, known as Kira.
Yeah.
Was, like, so bad.
Very bad. They did a very bad
It was just like, well, that escalated quickly. Mia's all like, let's use the Death Note to make the world a better place. And then literally 1 minute later, he's established as Kira. And there are cults about him and shit.
Well, it was clever.
And there wasn't even any...
It was a subtle misdirection, you see.
There wasn't even any dramatic choir music with, like, people falling out of windows and getting heart attacks. And he didn't take a potato chip and eat it.
Well, you see... I mean, like...
Also, another thing they changed was, like, the heart attack thing.
Yeah.
Like, they changed a lot of the rules of the Death Note.
Yeah, there were a lot of extra rules.
Yeah, like, which, inherently wouldn't be bad if they changed rules in a way to make the story better for a movie, but they didn't do that.
Well, I mean, okay. But also, like, in the actual anime, a lot of it, several episodes are dedicated to Kira learning the rules of the Death Note. Because there were, admittedly, a lot of, like, unwritten rules on how it works.
Mm-hmm.
And in the anime and in the manga, it's like there are really only a couple rules that are explicitly stated.
Right.
And the main character has to figure the rest of them out. And that's more of, like, a credit of the format, right?
Mm-hmm.
We get to establish that the main character is very analytical and very
Oh.
And methodical, because he takes the time to, like, figure out how the Death Note works exactly.
Yeah.
So I can't really fault the film for, like, laying out all the rules bare at the beginning. But
I'm not faulting it for that. I'm faulting it for, like, some of the rules that they changed didn't feel like there was a very good reason for the change.
It feels like the main rule they changed was, like, with, at the end, how they, like, said you can only burn the Death Note to save one person.
Yeah.
Which was, like, just to serve their dumb story.
One thing that's a little interesting is that... Ooh, I did it. Some of it, I wonder if they decided to base some stuff on the original one-shot for Death Note. Have you ever... Do you know the one-shot?
No.
So when Oba and Obata... Okay, so to give a little backstory, if you're not familiar with manga, a lot of times manga, before they get published, the creator has to make like a little one-shot chapter to get people, see if people are interested in the idea. And a lot of times the one-shot is very different from what actually happens when it gets serialized. And Death Note, when they did a one-shot, it was actually like completely different characters, and because it was only one chapter long, it was like sort of a condensed, well, not condensed, but like a single story that had an ending after one chapter. And it was about this character who was like a younger high school student who, and he did, it was a little bit like the Netflix thing where he got bullied and shit, and he was like, and then he saw the same bullies treating somebody else badly, and he was like, be better if they were off dead. And then he gets the Death Note, and he decides he does, unlike Light, he doesn't like try to rule the world or anything. He just kills off his bullies and stuff. But then, also unlike Light, he kind of realizes that it's a corrupting force, and he doesn't really want to that it's bad. But also one of the things in the original one shot that they cut out of the serialization was the existence of, and it's really dumb, so that's probably why they took it out. But Ryu gives him a magic Death Note eraser, where you could I don't know if there was a time limit for it, but you could erase someone's name you wrote down, and then they would come back to life. And he did that for the bully after he felt bad. So I kind of wonder if that's sort of what they were thinking of. And burning it's a little better than an eraser. But...
A little bit.
But another thing they changed, which I think was only for a little bit of dialogue they had to make Ryuk seem more scary, was when Light threatens to hit Ryuk's name in the Death Note, and Ryuk's people have tried, but I have 4 letters in my name, and people have only gotten to 2. And it's in the original, you can't write a Death Note, or a Shinigami's name in the notebook, it doesn't work.
Yeah, the eraser thing was kind of...
Yeah. I mean, that was mainly... I think that was mainly for the one-shot because they wanted to, again, make a conclusive story in one chapter. But yeah, it wouldn't have worked out in the actual story with Light and everything, because... for one, Light probably wouldn't have ever used it anyway.
I mean, he totally would have, though.
For who?
For I mean, not for who. You can't try and imagine who he would have in the original story used the eraser for. He would have used the eraser for experimental purposes. Absolutely, he would have experimented with the eraser because he's Light.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But it obviously adds a lot more like consequence and stuff to not have it.
Oh yeah, I think it's better without the eraser, without a doubt. Like,
ow.
For this little like chess game that they're supposed to be playing in the anime.
Yeah, and like again in the one shot, it's not Light, it's some other kid.
Yeah.
And L's not in it at all. Or I don't think any of the characters who are actually in Death Note were in the one shot, except Ryuk.
Right.
No, my mushrooms!
What level is this? What are you doing?
Sugar Rush.
Is this from Wreck-It Ralph?
Yeah.
Wait, really?
Nah, I just call it that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if Light had the eraser, he like would have done whatever the fuck he wanted, and then like he would have sacrificed everybody, and then once L was dead, he would have just brought back his family or some shit. Oop.
Yeah, but it was so bad.
It was really bad.
I felt so cheated when at the end, like, they had Light explaining his little plan. I know that's the thing they do a lot in the anime, but it has a lot more, I don't know, it feels a lot more earned.
Yeah, in the anime, you're kind of like, oh shit, all this was his plan all along.
Yeah. Not like at the very end. It's like, because like in the anime you feel like, oh shit, did Light fuck up?
Yeah.
But in the anime it's like, oh no, he didn't. This is all part of his plan. But at the end of like the shit at the movie, it was like, oh shit, did Light fuck up? And at the end of the movie it's like, no.
Yeah, and again, it kind of came out of left field because the anime and manga right off the bat establishes that he's a genius and shit. Whereas in this one, he's book smart, I guess, with academics, but he's kind of a dipshit otherwise. So when he suddenly has this master plan at the end, it's like,
why?
Okay,
how?
but
since when?
Yeah, since when?
Since when could you pull this shit off? You like, we're kind of a giant dipshit fuckboy baby through the whole thing. You couldn't kill your dad, and that was like your big downfall.
Mm-hmm.
But then you could just kill Misa or Mia, who was your like love interest, without like a batting
Especially
an eye.
after we had this whole long montage and shit of you guys getting all romantic while killing people.
Like,
and
a few montages I think of this, right?
And then you guys were all like, oh, we love each other so much. And then both of you literally wrote each other's names in the Death Note.
That's how much they love each other.
Like,
they don't love each other, Chelsea. They just love the idea of each other.
Okay. Like, Light would do that 100% in the original, but not Misa.
Well, like, yeah, but also, you know.
Yeah.
Light didn't actually give a shit about Misa.
Exactly.
In the beginning, it's like, of this one, it's like Light and Misa is like the main thing. It's the main thing of Light's character, almost.
Yeah.
You know, in the other one, Light's main thing is he's a god, but in this one, Light talks about being a god, but it feels a lot like
they're using it to bond.
Their relationship is way more important than actually making the world a better place.
Right.
Which, I mean, again, isn't inherently a bad storytelling device, but then the whole fucking movie retcons it and acts like, no, it's Light's actually as cool as you thought he was supposed to be. Bitch.
Phew.
Commander. I hope that you fucking find someone who will murder serial killers and pedophiles with you and then kill you in a fucking Ferris wheel. If that's what it takes to make you happy, I hope that you find happiness.
That Ferris wheel thing was so dumb.
And it was a set piece. It was bullshit. It was just to make the whole thing look... Angry boy! Last place! It was just to make the whole thing look more spectacular.
Yeah. I know, but like, you know, like I know that is why they did it, but also I was like, what is your plan here? You're just gonna... I mean, like, we found out apparently his plan was for the thing to crash and he gets saved by that dude or whatever.
He gets saved by that pedo.
Yeah. But still, it was like... My only relief is that they didn't try to make a Matsuda character and ruin him.
Yeah, that was good of them. I mean, there was so much that they could have ruined in the live action movie. I like barely register Light's dad as the same
Dojima.
character. Yeah, Light's dad is essentially Dojima from Persona 4 and not the actual Mr.
It's because the writers didn't watch Death Note, but they played Persona 4, so they're like, oh, an anime cop dad? I know what that is.
I don't know what that's like. Yeah, it was pretty, like, off the mark for the actual Death Note dad.
Yeah.
The actual Officer Yagami.
What's RD saying?
I can't honestly RD, but Chelsea's seen other live adaptations of Death Note. How did this stack up?
The worst.
It's the... Yeah, okay. That's... But why is it the worst? How is it worse than the other, like, live adaptations?
So the other live adaptations at least tried to stay somewhat true to Death Note. Like, they had most of the same characters, and they might have changed some stuff, but for the most part, they stayed fairly true in terms of plot and character. Like, I think the next worst ones were probably the live-action movies that came out fairly shortly after the anime. They're Japanese, but they basically just tried to squeeze all of Death Note, or at least until L's death, into two movies. And then they changed it so that L didn't die, he won. So they didn't have the whole thing with Nier and Mello. Because that would take too long, I guess. For two movies.
That wouldn't take too long, and also, like, let's be honest.
It's not as
They're
good.
way less cool.
Yeah, that's true. But for the most part, they kept the characters and such pretty similar to the original. But that said, because they squished everything into, even though it was only up until L's death, they squished everything into two movies. So because of that, you lost a lot in the process. So unfortunately, it wasn't as good. You lost a lot of the nuances and whatnot.
Now, from what I understand from the live-action movies, Light in those movies is also way less of, like, a scheming genius and more of just, like, a fucking high school dipshit.
I believe you're thinking of the J-drama, which I was about to get to.
Okay.
I haven't seen the movies in a long time, to be honest. So I sort of only have vague recollections. I remember that they were I remember watching them and remember thinking that they were fairly close, but just not as good because, again, everything was squished into two movies. And they had, for some reason, the Red Hot Chili Peppers were their, like, opening song.
Interesting.
And it was, like, in all their trailers. But, it was, like, meh. It wasn't... Like, if I watched it again, I probably would like it even less. But they were meh. Then more recently, they made a J-drama, which admittedly I did not finish. But in that one, they changed a lot more stuff. But even then, they still kept relatively, what's the word I'm looking for?
Faithful?
Faithful, yeah. Because, like, Light, the main things they changed in it, which I didn't super like, but Light was no longer a genius. He was above average intelligence, but he wasn't a genius. He also started out being a fan of Misa because she was an idol. Like, she was a celebrity. So then when he became Kira and she found out that he was Kira and wanted to date him, he was like, hell yeah. One of the interesting things that did, though, was it sort of highlighted the corruption of the Death Note, because he actually started out genuinely caring about her, and then through the Death Note, he got to the point where, similar to the manga and anime, he, like, didn't give a shit about her, and he cared more about his goals and the Death Note and stuff. So that was kind of interesting, even though I didn't love it. They also changed some of L's habits, which isn't terrible, just kind of annoying if you're like a purist, I guess. Because like instead of loving candy and stuff, he was addicted to these little juice pouch things, which I'm guessing was a sponsorship thing. And he was also way more, like he's already kind of a germaphobe thing, like the way he picks stuff up. But there was like this running joke thing where every time his shirt got a little dirty, Watari would give him a new one, which gave the actor an excuse to give fan service while he stripped out of his shirt. Also, the actor was very pretty, which was weird, because L was sort of supposed to be like not super attractive, and like Light's supposed to be the more charismatic pretty boy. But in terms of actors, like L was more, he looked like a pop idol, and it was weird. Misa was pretty much the same. Like I said, I didn't finish that one.
The same as what?
Her character was very similar to how she is in the manga and anime.
Oh, okay.
Well, okay.
Well.
But that said, I would say that even despite some big changes they made, it's probably the best live action adaptation of Death Note. I don't think there are any other adaptations that aren't like spoofs.
Right. Good place, baby. Hey, Greta's here.
Hey, Greta. We're talking about the Netflix Death Note and how bad it is. And I'm drunk driving. Don't drink and drive.
Don't drink and drive, Greta.
You thought I was bad at Mario Kart before.
I never thought you were bad at Mario Kart.
Okay, you thought I was mediocre at Mario Kart before.
I never thought you were mediocre at Mario Kart.
I'm using the general you.
Okay. Well, viewers, fuck you for thinking Chelsea's mediocre at Mario Kart.
Yeah. What do you think it could take to make a good adaptation of an anime? Do you mean an anime in general, or specifically Death Note, Artie? Like, there have been good adaptations of anime before. The thing is, usually it's of an anime that is fairly normal. And I mean normal like yeah, like Boku no Pico. Oh my gosh. Like more slice of life type stuff. The problem is, like, we're Americans. We're used to high production value in our TV shows and movies and whatnot. So sometimes it's easy to forget that other foreign countries don't have very big budgets when it comes to their works. And Japan is definitely one of those. That's why I'm, like, there's a Fullmetal Alchemist movie adaptation that's either coming out or is already out, I'm not sure. And as most of you probably know, if you watch our channel a lot, that's my favorite anime. But I don't know if I want to watch it, because I'm a little worried about how it's going to turn out.
It's going to be great.
But, because Fullmetal Alchemist is very, like, fantasy, sci-fi kind of deal. But, like, other ones, like, there was an adaptation for Otoman, which is like a shoujo kind of slice of life comedy deal, and that one is cute, because it's, you know, just sort of a rom-com type of thing. There's a Princess Jellyfish live action adaptation I want to watch, because that's probably pretty good. Are you okay?
Yeah? I didn't know there was a Princess Jellyfish
yeah, there's
live action adaptation.
There is. I don't know if it's a movie or a show. I think it's a movie. I think it came out like last year or something. But I am interested in watching that, because again, that Princess Jellyfish, if you haven't watched it, is super good. It's another like slice of life comedy thing. And I would imagine the live action's probably decent.
I would hope so.
Yeah, I would hope so too.
Whoops, you're gonna lose.
No, too late. Look what you made me do.
Haha. Get dunked on, nerd.
But yeah, I haven't actually watched that many live action adaptations of stuff.
Now, we recently watched the...
Is this 200cc? I feel like this is really fast.
Yeah, it was pretty fast. We recently watched the animated version of Ghost in the Shell.
Oh yeah, that's
Chelsea,
true.
how much do you want to watch the live-action American adaptation of Ghost in the Shell?
Not at all.
Not at all. Do you want to give your opinions on Ghost in the Shell?
I liked it.
I liked it too.
I kind of got the same feeling as when I watched Akira, where I can understand why people really liked it, and I can appreciate it for like when it came out and stuff. Mm-hmm. But on a more personal level, I didn't love it. And I could definitely tell you could tell, like, this was the case more for Akira than it was for Ghost in the Shell, like, way more. But with Akira, you could really tell that it was, like, a tiny sliver of story from a much larger story. So you didn't really get any, like, closure. Like, you started out with a lot of questions, and you, like, didn't get any answers, you just got more questions. And maybe maybe the goal was to get you interested enough to like read the manga, which is really long, to get your answers, but
I think for Ghost in the Shell it still holds up even for today.
Yeah, like I still liked it, but like I am not like, oh yeah, my favorite anime movie now.
Well, I don't think it like existed to like get you to read the manga for Ghost in the Shell.
No.
I think it
like I said, that was definitely more the case for Akira.
Yeah, I think it existed more to like, I don't know, get you genuinely like invested in a in an environment, in a world, in like a setting.
Right.
Which it did really well.
Yeah, it did. Oop. Like, I could definitely see a lot of, like, influence for other stuff that must have gotten it from Ghost in the Shell.
Yo, who... Did you make friends with a person named Stinky Tracy?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Stinky Tracy.
Patty.
Like, even, I was kind of wondering if Westworld got inspiration from it.
Yeah, the intro for Ghost in the Shell definitely like felt a lot like the introduction for Westworld.
And it has a lot of similar themes, which, you know, is not, you know, exclusive to Ghost in the Shell or anything.
Oh,
but,
no. I mean...
But, it certainly, I got kind of the feeling, tonally and whatnot, that maybe at least one of the writers had some influence from it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, basically, whenever you're like making a universe that relies heavily on AI characters, it's pretty much guaranteed that you're gonna posit the question about the humanity of AI.
Right.
Which is like the sort of the main thing, if not the main thing, of both of those works, both Ghost in the Shell and fucking Westworld.
Yeah. It also made me think of freaking iRobot.
Oh no. We've made our stinky friend weep.
Oh no. Don't cry.
Don't cry, Stinky Tracy. It's been a while since I've been on the channel, so I'm sorry if I mistook you for someone else. You also have to understand that I've been watching the Death Note movie and have had about my weight and volume in Appletinis.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit fuzzy around the edges.
Same. That's why I'm bad at Mario Kart today. Don't drink and drive, kids.
That's the reason.
That's the reason.
Why you're bad.
It's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Well, we can't just sit here and talk about Death Note. We're a gaming channel, damn it.
We gotta talk about gaming. Hey, are you excited? Have you heard about, speaking of sort of related to Ghost in the Shell? Have you heard of this game, Cyberpunk 2077?
No.
I'm really excited for it. I have no idea when it's coming out, though. It's made by CD Projekt. You know who they are?
No.
CD Projekt are the developers of The Witcher.
Huh.
Cyberpunk 2077 is essentially sort of like the same deal as The Witcher. Same systems, same gameplay mechanics anyway. But instead of taking place in like sort of this Eastern European medieval high fantasy realm, it takes place in like Cyberpunk Future Zone.
Neat.
Yeah, which I'm really excited about.
Are your Witcher powers apps now?
Probably.
Use the Igni app.
Ex Machina, is that the name of a film? Mr. the Hound.
Ugh. Orion High School Host Club got a live-action adaptation. I never watched it, though.
No shit.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen, the cartoon Super Jail, Chelsea?
I don't think so.
So, in a nutshell, there's this cartoon Super Jail, and I don't know if I'd 100% recommend it. But it's like a cartoon about this, like, warden who runs a jail. But, like, their jail is just fucked up and full of human rights violations. But the warden himself is like very flamboyant and excitable and like upbeat. And like sort of in my head I had canon that the main character of Oron just grew up to be this warden.
Tamaki?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what live action adaptation is actually surprisingly good?
What?
There's a more, I don't know if there's an older one as well, but like 5 years ago or something, they made a live action adaptation of Sailor Moon, which you wouldn't expect to be very good.
No, I wouldn't.
But it was surprisingly good. Like at the very least, it made more sense why no one recognized them, because like when they're just normal high schoolers, they look like just normal Japanese girls with black hair. And then when they're in their uniforms, they're like, they have colorful uniforms and wigs.
Right.
And sure, you had to take it with a grain of salt because, you know, it's Sailor Moon.
Right.
But it was surprisingly good.
When are they going to make a live-action adaptation of Samurai Pizza Cats?
Now there's an adaptation for you.
There's an adaptation that I'm hungry for.
I liked how Willem Dafoe, like, Light pronounced his name Ryuk.
Yeah.
And then he's like, it's Ryuk. But that's also not how you pronounce it.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe corrected him.
But wrong.
He called him Ryuk, right?
But Willem Dafoe says, like, it's pronounced Ryuk.
No, he didn't. Is that true? Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
I feel like William Dafoe did it right.
Like, then Light repeated it and he did it right. He said Ryuk. But I'm pretty sure, because I was like, what? When Willem Dafoe says it, because it sounded like he said Ryuk. Live action Space Dandy. I think I watched like 2 episodes of Space Dandy.
What the fuck map is this even? Is this
Animal Crossing? No. Ow. Rude.
Very rude.
I don't know what anime I would want as a live action adaptation. I feel like a lot of anime I don't want a live action adaptation of.
Okay, but hold up. Here, let me posit a thought experiment for you.
Sure.
Imagine they make a live adaptation of an anime, and it's like a faithful and high budget adaptation with good casting. In this case, which anime would you want to be adapted?
I don't know, I just feel like a lot of my favorite anime, I don't see how they can really be improved by just having live actors. Like, I can understand an adaptation from, like, a book, or if they make from a manga, but that didn't have an anime. But, like, the anime is already a visual type of media, with, like, music and Foley and acting, even if it's voice acting, and you can see them and whatnot. Animation can accomplish a lot of things that live action can't. So I can't really think of a case where I feel like it would be improved, even if it was done well, by just having real actors instead of it being animated.
I can think of one.
What?
Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Why?
Because there wouldn't be a bunch of dumb chibi bullshit. I'm not joking. That makes it worse.
It wasn't that much.
There was a lot.
You mean just like the humorous moments?
Like all the parts where like Ed or Al turns into like a goof 'em up of itself.
Bye, RD.
Bye.
I feel like Brotherhood didn't do it that often.
It didn't do it that often, but like it still felt gratuitous.
Hmm. I mean, another problem is that a lot of the humor in anime doesn't really cross over well to live action. A lot of, like, the gestures and physical comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But then they still try to do it.
But is that physical comedy, like, good? Even in, like, its context?
I mean, it feels slightly less weird because it's animated. And then when you do it in real life, it just looks stupid. Like, more.
I agree. But I just wonder, like... I don't know, there's a lot of, like, these themes in Brotherhood that feel very, you know, in the original one, but more so in Brotherhood, that feel very, like, that have a lot of gravity. It's a situation with, like, a lot of meaning.
Right.
And
yeah,
I just honestly never knew how I feel about, like, all of these weird, goofy bits, like, whenever, like, Ed... like goes on a tirade about being short, or whenever Al is like embarrassed or like unconfident and then turns into like this kitty cat face.
I mean, I think it depends on the scene and the tone of the scene. Because like I think that is a moment where it is better in animation, because like if Al makes an expression, you can't really do that if it's just an actual...
But does it even belong there, no matter how his expression is? Like, no matter what his expression is, should he even be, like, saying something, like, angrily, like, hey, who you calling short, even if it's animated?
I mean, it's a part of his character.
Yeah, but it's, like, maybe not a good part of his character? If you wanted to, like, show this anime to the layman, like, if you wanted to show this anime to someone who's never seen anime before, I feel like that would be really weird.
I don't know, like, Fullmetal Alchemist was one of the first anime I'd seen. I hadn't seen any anime, and I didn't think, like, it didn't bother me.
Yeah, but, like, how old were you?
Middle school?
Okay, imagine you have an adult friend, and, like, you, rightfully so, you know, believe that Fullmetal Alchemist is, like, an excellent fucking story. Because it is. It's fabulous.
Right.
And you want to be like, hey, I love this thing, I want to show it to you. And then you show it to them, and, like, you have fucking these wacky moments where Ed turns into, like, this weird and gnashing teeth monster. And you're like, no, it's good. I swear to God.
Personally, I don't think that detracts that much. Because, like, that's sort of just a cultural thing in anime. A lot of them have weird little faces for humorous moments. It's not just Fullmetal Alchemist, you know?
I know it's not Fullmetal Alchemist, but, like...
Am I still racing?
Yeah,
What's
you're
going
still
on?
racing.
But
You've what?
I'm not pressing the button.
Oh, you're still racing. Maybe...
I'm not controlling
Maybe
it.
pay attention.
I've crossed the finish line.
We're in purgatory.
Oh, okay. We are trash talking the Death Note film.
I mean, we trashed all over the Death Note film. We can trash
do it
over
more,
again if you want. But that's the thing. So, like, in the Death Note anime, there's none of that shit.
Because it's not that type of anime.
What do you think? I just don't think that Fullmetal Alchemist is that type of anime either.
I would disagree. Because Death Note is very, like, tonally, it's, like, has a smattering of lighter moments. Lighter. But for the most part, it's a very, like, serious, suspenseful story. Whereas with Fullmetal Alchemist, one of its strong points is that it has a lot of different tones and genres within it. But at its heart, even though it does have a lot of like very serious and dark moments, it also counterbalances with a lot of lighter moments. And I think in those lighter moments, it's all right to have that sort of, I don't know, artistic silliness.
I feel like there's a lot of humor and a lot of silliness that exists in Fullmetal Alchemist that, like,
oh, for sure,
isn't
right. That's true.
Yeah, that isn't like necessarily served by like having a goofy face.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of like character humor in Fullmetal Alchemist
right.
that's like really funny.
Yeah, that's true.
But
I don't think that also having that really detracts from it that much. Personally,
I mean, I don't know. Those are the parts that like bother me the most about that particular anime, and like also animes like it. I don't have a problem with that sort of humor in animes that are like more geared towards it.
Mm-hmm.
Like in, for example, you know, more animes that are more lighter, like One Punch Man.
Mm-hmm.
Not a big deal. The whole anime is kind of like a farce about animes, or
right.
even Oran. You know, it's a slice of life anime, but it's also about like these big character moments about like these characters' insecurities and like how they're brought out in their everyday life. The whole anime focuses on these characters' insecurities, whereas honestly, like in Fullmetal Alchemist, the characters' insecurities are, for the most part, handled with like a pretty decent amount of nuance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though like it's kind of a goof that Ed's short, like a lot of his character is about being like insufficient for like the task. Like he's always like second guessing himself, and that's a fucking big deal. That's a big character flaw.
Right.
And like I feel like when you put a fucking kitty cat face on him and give him pointy teeth, it's like, oh no, it's just a goof him up.
I mean, I get what you're saying, but I feel like while there are definitely, obviously, goof 'em up kind of moments in it, I feel like Hiromu Arakawa usually does a pretty good job of keeping those in moments where they make sense. Like, she doesn't put that in a very serious moment, usually. And yeah, I feel like also the whole Ed is short gag is certainly a thing that gets old fast, but I don't think it really, like, it comes up now and then, but it's not something that is dwelled on that much.
Well, it's not like dwelled on, but it's a part of like his character development. It's a part of like how he views himself. He puts a lot of blame on himself for the way he and his brother's life turned out.
Right.
And that's all about his shortcomings. No pun intended. And I understand that, like, it's sort of like his actual shortness is a reflection of that. But, like, every time he, like, turns into an anime chibi monster about it, it feels kind of, like, weird and dumb.
Yeah, I agree with, Little Tortilla Boy. I like your name. I think that those are mainly intended just to, like, sort of, you know, have a little tonal, lighthearted moment. And, like, they are goof 'em up. They're not really meant to be serious. And again, I don't think she puts them in moments that are meant to be super serious. It's more of a sort of just a little endearing trait. I think also that sort of humor is sort of, I think, has been on the decline a bit. And I think that's sort of a cultural thing. And Fullmetal Alchemist did come out in the early 2000s. So, like the manga especially. So I feel like maybe part of it was also to give a more typical anime shonen little quirk that readers could sort of latch onto.
Well, I mean, that's...
And again, I don't think it stays that way that long.
Yeah.
It's just sort of a running gag that shows up now and then in the more humorous moments. I don't know. It's never really bothered me very much. The only time it bothered me was in Brotherhood when they, like... I don't think you saw the first episodes because I had you watch the other one for the intro. But in Brotherhood, they definitely overdo that at the beginning. And it's really annoying. But I feel like in, like, the manga... And if you watch it the way I recommend, with starting out with the 03 series and then switching over to Brotherhood, it's not overdone as much.
I guess my argument is more in the fact that I feel like it would be better if they just did. I like get that maybe it doesn't get in the way of enjoying it, and it really doesn't. I mean, you can enjoy it in spite of, you know, whatever sort of anime expression tropes it might adopt. It's just really good. It's just a really... You're fucked. It's just a really excellent, like, show.
Right.
But I would, like, hazard that without these sort of weird anime tropey moments, it would just be overall a better series. Isn't Little Tortilla Boy like an Adam Sandler bit?
I don't know if I would think that it would be better without those moments. I certainly wouldn't want more of them than there already are. But I think, again, that there's a decent balance of it. You haven't heard of the Adam Sandler anime? You'd watch a Happy Gilmore anime?
That'd be the greatest sports anime ever made.
Would sports anime be good as a live action adaptation or bad?
I think it would be mostly bad.
Yeah.
Like
on one hand, it'd be really easy because they're just normal people. But on the other hand, a lot of sports anime comes from, like, being able to do the close-ups of the action shots and shit, and the non-realistic stuff that they do in the sport.
Yeah, totally. I feel like the only sports anime that would make sense would be, like, shot in the style of, like, either, like, Scott Pilgrim or Speed Racer, where it's clearly, like, this used to be an anime!
Yeah. That said, there are a lot of live-action adaptations of Haikyuu that are, like, concerts.
Yeah. Listen, little tortilla boy. You don't gotta tell us that sports anime is better than most shonen. We know.
Yeah. Like, Melissa went to go see a Haikyuu concert.
Jealous.
Yeah. That's how I got my. She gave me my little Kageyama and Hinata buttons. Haikyuu is definitely less weird than a lot of sports anime in terms of like they don't have very many like
bloodline techniques.
Yeah. Like freaking like that's
Fucking
why
basketball.
Yeah, that's why I dropped Kuroko no Basuke. Like it started out fine. The only like obviously it was a little weird that only the main characters had weird hair colors and everyone else was normal. But like it started out mainly okay in terms of their actual playing. And then they like figured out how to access the zone. And then they were basically like super powered.
I mean, Haikyuu would be an okay live action movie, but again, I feel like it would only make sense if you filmed it like an anime. Mm-hmm. Like there's so many parts of Haikyuu that require this sort of special, like very expressive filming technique. Mm-hmm. Like for example,
it did have weird bodies.
When they're talking about like, you know, the wall.
Yeah.
That's like not a thing. That's like just not a thing in fucking regular American movies.
Right.
That sort of shot. So they'd really have to pay attention to the way like it was animated for it to be like any good. Otherwise, it would just be horseshit.
Right. Also, a lot of Hinata's sort of like slow-mo moments. Where where he gets really focused and sees the ball in slow motion and stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff like that would have to be shot specifically.
It's the reason that, like, again, I don't want to harp on this, but, like, Speed Racer and fucking Scott Pilgrim are kind of good movies because they pay a lot of attention to the source material, how things are framed, and how things are animated, because it reflects, like, the actual sort anime or the graphic novel. That's the reason like so much like other stuff that's adapted is like bad, because they're like, we'll just use, you know, sort of tried and true methods of cinema, and they just don't make sense in that context.
Right. Ah.
Ah.
Rude. Rude! Oops.
Got it.
A Haikyuu live-action TV series. I mean, I feel like the same deal.
I mean, it could be done right, but it just depends on like
how
they decide to.
Yeah, if they did make a Haikyuu live-action anything, I probably would prefer a TV, like a J-drama, over a movie.
Yeah.
Mainly because I don't know how you would get through a whole lot in just a movie for that. All matches are only 5 minutes long.
The Super Mario Brothers movie is like a nightmare all on its own. That was like doomed to fail from the start. You can... I don't know. I don't know who to blame. I don't know if I should blame the director, or the cinematographer, or John Leguizamo, or fucking...
Yes.
Oh god, I can't remember the name of the Dennis Hopper. All of them were fucking at fault for that abortion of a film. Oh no, I love it. It's like one of my favorite bad movies. It's so good and bad. But if you try and like take it as a movie on its own without trying to enjoy the bad parts of it, it's horseshit. It's so bad. I own it on DVD.
I guess if we want to switch back to Death Note, another thing that I'm not surprised at all about that they fucked up was that, like, a lot of what makes Death Note great is a lot of, like, the themes, you know?
Yeah.
The idea that Light is, like, if you're gonna name a bad guy, it's obviously Light. But that said, he still is the protagonist, so even if you don't necessarily relate to him, you still see where he's coming from, at least initially. And it's not like all black and white, you know? And L is, as well, is not like a paragon of justice, necessarily. He does some weird, illegal shit to do, like, ends justify the means type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So no one's really, like, the hero or the villain. And I feel like with the Netflix movie, it's still not clear who's the hero or the villain, but it's more just because it's confusing.
Well, the problem is that, like, in the anime, you can, like, relate to every character.
Right.
And in the live-action film, you can't relate to any of them.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why, you know... It's
and
like I didn't want L to win, but I didn't want Light to win either.
Yeah. And, like, the whole thing with Light trying to be the god of the new world was, like, he genuinely wanted to do that, and he genuinely, at least at first, thought that that would make the world a better place. And then as time went on and he got more corrupted by the Death Note and stuff, and he became more of a piece of shit, then it was more just, you know, about him wanting to rule the world. But with the new one, it was, like, mainly just because Misa thought it'd be a good idea, and then they had the whole thing where it's like, oh yeah, he, like, people worship Kira now and shit, but, like, I feel like he didn't really care all that much about being seen as a paragon of justice.
Now that's interesting, because when you talk about the anime, you talk a lot about being corrupted by the Death Note,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not something I got from it.
Mm-hmm.
I always assumed that, like, the point was that Kira's megalomania just continued to grow until he was irredeemable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at some point near the beginning, he, like, was genuinely interested in some sort of, like, world building, like, trying to make the world a better place, as fucked up as he was.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, in truth, when you, like, got down to his core, he was actually just, like, completely self-important, self-absorbed, like, totally irredeemable asshole. It just took time for that to come out. Is there, like, something in the anime that explains, like, the Death Note, like, had an influence over him, like, of its own volition?
There's nothing that's, like, concrete. It's more sort of my own interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
But while I do agree that Light started out, like, not a good person, but I do believe that it was the Death Note that sort of brought out more of what was hidden inside of him. And, like, my main basis for that is the arc where he loses his memories. And, like, obviously a lot of it is still acting. I don't think he's suddenly a good boy or anything.
Yeah.
But he, like, we're still seeing it from Light's point of view. So I wouldn't say he's an unreliable narrator, necessarily. Like, even though he doesn't have all of his memories, he does mainly genuinely seem to care about, like, helping Elle and stuff. So I kind of feel like I agree with you that Light starts out kind of like an asshole.
Yeah.
And I think that, but I do think the Death Note sort of almost like a milder version of the One Ring, sort of just took what was the bad shit that was already inside of him, but he suppressed and just let it all out.
Gotcha.
So I don't think it actually, like, had a hand in corrupting him so much, even though I use that term.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the Death Note itself made him, like, a bad person. I think he was already a bad person. But I think the Death Note did sort of bring out bad aspects in his personality that he already had, but was keeping hidden for the sake of, like, you know,
social ability.
Right.
Do you think that the Death Note, the light in the live action movie did indeed just do it all for the pussy?
It kind of
seemed It did kind of seem like exactly like that was the case.
Yeah, in the movie they did try to give him more of a reason with, like, his mom getting killed and shit. But yeah, for sure. It wasn't really until, like, he literally went up to her even though they weren't together or didn't even really know each other that well. I was like, hey, you want to see my Death Note? I can kill people. Does that turn you on?
Hey, check out this book. Do you want to check it out? Sure.
Or can I tell you about it? You want me to tell you about it?
That's literally what he says, though. It's so bad.
It's fucking god-awful.
He acts like an emo Hot Topic 13-year-old. And, like,
Topic 13.
I thought that's what they would do to Misa. But,
right.
But no, they did it to him. And like I said, honestly, Misa's character was more like the original Light than Light's character was. It was kind of weird. I almost, at the end, wanted Misa to just take, like, I mean, that was kind of her plan, right? I wanted her to just, like, push him out of the Ferris wheel and take the Death Note and become the new Kira.
And be way better at being Kira.
And be way better at being Kira and, like, defeat L, like, in the series or something. Because L doesn't do shit. So yeah, she definitely could.
You're, like, almost asking for, like, the makers of this movie to do something clever and good. Right. Which I think they're incapable of fucking doing.
Well, yeah. But, you know, if I was
the king of anime!
If I was suddenly asked to write an alternate ending to that movie, that is what I would do.
I mean, that's pretty good. That would be good.
Yeah, it also did definitely remind me of Twilight.
Yeah.
Mainly a lot of the quote-unquote romantic scenes definitely gave me a Twilight vibe. And it was awful.
I wish I could agree with you, Chelsea, but I've never seen fucking Twilight. So
I would say as revenge for making me watch shitty movies, we could get drunk and watch Twilight, but I'm not subjecting myself to that.
Yeah.
Never again. It's not worth it.
We do still have to watch fucking Mario.
Yeah.
Which I think you'll like better than this.
Yeah, that one I know is, like, funny bad.
Yeah.
Twilight is just bad. Like, boring bad. Like, I would maybe rather watch Death Note again than watch Twilight.
Wow, what a fucking glowing endorsement for fucking Death Note. Shit.
Bye. Greta, are you here? Play with me. Twilight's real bad. I never understood why people liked it so much. Why do so many people have such bad opinions, you guys? It's a pretty good analogy. Like, of all the characters they ruined in the new Death Note movie, so I did not expect to think that Misa's character was the least ruined. I thought they would do some sort of like Suicide Squad Harley Quinn bullshit with her. But like, don't get me wrong, she's still a terrible character. But like, in comparison, she surprisingly wasn't as bad as the other characters. But like, Elle was super boring and didn't do anything. Watari also... Like, they did this weird thing with Watari. They tried to make him younger and a little more badass, and also they made him Japanese, which would be okay, except why did they make the only non-Japanese character Japanese? Like, he wasn't the only non-Japanese character, but you know what I mean.
What other non-Japanese characters were there in Death Note?
All of L's associates.
Those are like minor characters, though.
Yeah, that's true. Like Nier and Mello, who obviously weren't in it. And then L's associates like Iber and Weddy. And all the other characters with really dumb names. Oh, not that way. Ow, rude.
What a douche. 10th place.
Oh, Elle was supposed to be older? See, I didn't even notice that. Like, I guess I did notice he didn't look like he was in high school, but... Do you mean he's just supposed to be older than Light, or supposed to be older than he is in the original? Because he looked about the same age as the original. Because I want to say... Elle is... How old is Elle? 25 when the series starts? Something like that? I don't quite remember. Can I have my thing here? Here. Play a game for a second.
Why do you want me to play a game?
I want to look up something.
I don't want to play fucking Mario Kart.
Too bad.
I don't know how to play. What buttons do I press?
All of them.
Help!
Oh, Rainbow Road, huh?
Yeah, thanks a lot.
I went to see if I had my Death Note manga with me, because I have the 13th volume that has all the character info in it. But I do not. It's at home, with my parents. Good job, Arlo. Oop. But I'm fairly sure that Elle is 25 at the beginning of the series. Or at least around there, give or take a couple years.
What should I be doing? I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Driving.
That's really unhelpful.
Right trigger is to drift and bounce. Left trigger is to use your items.
Is that good? Did I do it right? That's not... When should I drift?
When you turn. Oop. You were 14 when Death Note came out? Now you're older than L.
Wowzers, Bowsers.
Oop. It's always weird to think that you're older than a character. Especially when you, like, grew up with that character.
Here you go. Did my best. Might put my mouth on your control a little bit. Sorry.
Gross.
I didn't know how to play the fucking video game, Chelsea.
Thanks for the cheer, Swaggy Ninja.
Thank you, Swaggy Ninja.
If you're still here.
Oh.
Also, did we talk about them making Ryuk the sort of a bad guy?
I think we like almost talked about it for a minute, but it's bullshit and I hate it.
Yeah. Like, well, whoever's here now was probably not here earlier when we were talking about it, so we can talk about it again.
Yeah.
But like, one of the other bad things they did in the movie was they took Ryuk, who was supposed to be like almost a unbiased observer. Like, he's slightly biased. He does sometimes help Light out when Light like bribes him and stuff, and if he thinks it'll make things interesting. But for the most part, he's just there for shits and giggles.
He's like totally self-serving.
Yeah, and like they sort of tried to make it more typical American Horror Story, not the show, but you know what I mean.
No, yeah, they made him
where
like
it was
threat.
like, yeah, where it was like this demon guy who gives out this evil notebook to people, and it wasn't Light's fault that he became a murderer. It was this guy, and it's like, no, it's Light. It's definitely Light.
Yeah.
That was like one of the whole themes of the original thing.
That's the main thing about the anime.
Yeah, was that Light, a human, was the real monster, and Ryuk, the Shinigami, was just there.
Was just sort of like...
Was just he like gave him the actual tool. Also, like in the original, Ryuk didn't choose Light or anything. He just kind of happened to pick it up. Whereas in this one, I think Ryuk specifically says, like, I chose you because I thought you'd be interesting. And it's like, why, though? What would give you that idea about this character?
Sick haircut, motherfucker. His cool backstory. His mom's dead, and he's hungry for vengeance.
Ow. Like, it would have, even though it would have detracted from it, it would have maybe sort of made sense in the original if that had been the case, because Light was, like, the smartest guy and stuff.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's like, why?
It's totally stupid. I mean...
It's because you gotta be a special little snowflake.
Yeah. He's a fucking millennial. No, it's, like, so fucking contrived why Ryuk gives him the Death Note. mean, listen.
Willem Dafoe's the perfect choice.
Willem Dafoe was like the perfect casting for Ryuk.
It was like the only thing the movie did right, but then they kind of also ruined it by only having him in it for like 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he does kind of like threaten Light to use it too.
Yeah. He's like all the time being like, I'm gonna fucking kill you if you don't do a good job. And that's just not... When you put this threat on Light's shoulders, it becomes less about Light being evil and more like Light being coerced by some greater evil. And that's just not what it's about.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and let's not forget the high-speed chase scene. That was very necessary to have. And totally added to the movie.
Yeah, man.
I think it's what we were talking about with it couldn't decide what kind of movie it wanted to be.
Chelsea, send a salve to Brazil, please.
Okay.
Send a salve. Chelsea, send your salves.
Better call Sal.
You greedy salve hoarder. I know you got so many salves in your room.
I do. That's true. Why do I keep getting backwards courses?
Chelsea, there is a bomb in Gilead.
What?
To make the world whole. I don't know. That's in the Bible.
Oh.
Just talking about... Hey, you're just talking about the Bible casually in this fucking episode of Master Quest Play Mario Kart. Yeah, dude. Those are some good shows. Chelsea, did you watch the Breaking Bad?
Yes.
Our friend... That's
why I made a joke.
Little Tortuilla boy is a big fan of the Breaking Bad. How did you feel about that television series?
I liked it a lot. I binge watched the whole thing.
Fabulous. I pretty much did too until I got to the point where there was no more, and then I had to wait.
Yeah, I actually started it right when it was ending, so I was able to watch the whole thing without a hiatus.
I watched the first 4 seasons when they came out, and then I had to wait for the 5th season to happen. But
rude.
Not a big deal.
I never watched Better Call Saul, though.
I watched some Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit behind. I think I'm about a season behind. But it's a pretty good TV series.
It's a prequel?
Yeah, it's a prequel. It's a lot less intense,
right?
As Breaking Bad is, but it's very good. You know, it's way more of a Breaking Bad was at its heart like a character exploration,
right?
And I think Better Call Saul is even more laser focused on that idea of exploring a character, because Breaking Bad ended up
rude. I was in first.
Breaking Bad ended up exploring a lot of different characters by the time it was over, whereas Better Call Saul has remained it's about Saul pretty much the whole time. Well, okay, about Saul and about Mike Ehrmantraut as well.
We can call you Tia for short.
Oh, thank you, Auntie.
I was gonna make that joke. Okay, here's a question for you.
Nope.
What?
No.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely not. Okay, what is it?
What live-action show or movie would you want to see an anime adaptation of?
Good question.
Assuming, of course, they do a good job.
For sure.
I think mine would be Harry Potter.
That's a pretty good one, but I have some bad news, Chelsea.
It already exists.
Little Witch Academy already exists. This is a tough question. Because I could imagine, like, several live-action shows being adapted well into animes. Like, I think the natural sort of, like, response is to do more of, like, an action show. A show with, like, a lot of shit going on.
Right.
And I'd be like, well, you know, Game of Thrones would be pretty good. It feels kind of a natural choice.
Jon Snow-kun.
Yeah,
you know nothing, senpai.
Exactly. But then I'm like, yo, what if they just did a straight up, like, comedy anime of Portlandia? Because I feel like that would be extremely good.
That'd be pretty great. The mayor just wants Carrie and Fred senpais to notice him. Uh-oh.
Speaking of the mayor of Portlandia, I would also be interested in seeing a Twin Peaks anime. Although I think there's like kind of a monopoly on like Twin Peaks like stuff in anime.
Yeah.
Like
I was about to say, I think there's a lot that already exists that are similar.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think Merlin would be a pretty good anime.
I was thinking that too.
Yeah. Glee would be a pretty good anime.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Oh
Wait.
yeah, though.
Glee isn't already an
I would hazard
anime?
a guess that it would be fucking far better than the actual like live action show, frankly. It would be just like a sports anime though, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Ow. Rude.
Holy fucking guacamole, Chelsea.
Wow, though. I was in, like, third.
Yeah, and now you're in, like, 07.
Breaking Bad and Death Note are kind of similar.
That's true. It's a lot about masterminds trying to outfox each other.
And there's a lot of gray morality.
You know, if we were enterprising when Twin Peaks came out, we should have played fucking Deadly Premonition.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Swear he promises he wasn't inspired at all by Twin Peaks, but he's fucking lying.
That or he's secretly, the creator of Twin Peaks.
Right. Well, I mean, like, even fucking Persona is inspired by Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
The Velvet Room exists because Twin Peaks is a thing.
Mm-hmm. Gravity Falls was inspired by Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think Alex Hirsch, his, like, little elevator pitch was Twin Peaks for kids. Not very many people in this room.
Nope. Well, if Persona is your favorite video game series, you should... Do you know if Little Tortilla Boys, or excuse me, if our auntie is following us?
I'm not sure. Are you following us? Because if you are, that's stalking.
Yeah.
But
if you're not, you should
do it.
follow us, because we do play Persona 5 now and again.
Mm-hmm. And we did play some of Persona 4, but...
We dropped it as soon as Persona 5 came out.
But hey, it's on YouTube.
Hey, baby!
Some of it, anyway.
Ah, they are following us.
Well, thank you kindly.
Are you a fan of Persona 3? Because we haven't played that quite yet. But it is fantastic. Yeah, it would be nice if they made a Persona 2 that like didn't have you know, random encounters, because that's really the biggest problem with it. Persona 2 is like, I'm so sorry. Persona 2 is great. I think it has some of the best characters in the Persona series, but the fact that you have these random unseen encounters makes it feel really old.
Oop. I think you weren't here earlier in our stream when we were talking about this, but do you agree with our assessment that Light's dad is basically Dojima?
Yeah, Light's dad is pretty much, or in the live action.
In the live action.
Yeah. Light's
in the
dad
Netflix
is
movie.
Dojima.
The writers were just like, anime cop dad. Pretty sure that's just Dojima.
Just pick Dojima. You know, his wife got run over by a car. That's Dojima.
But no Nanako. Now I want a remake of the Netflix Death Note movie, but Nanako's in it.
You don't understand me, Dad. Big bro.
Ow. Wow, though.
Wow.
It keeps happening at the last second.
Fifth place. That ain't bad. Oh, wait. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I've been drinking a lot, okay? Don't drink and drive.
Don't drink and drive.
It's the moral of this stream.
What's in your L-word cup?
Tea.
Okay. So that means you haven't finished what's in the...
Yeah, this one is my booze cup.
Excuse me.
Where are all the other people?
Hold on. I guess no one's playing fucking Mario Kart anymore.
Greta, where are you?
Greta. Play Mario Kart. Come on, please.
You pass out at a stop sign? I mean, I guess technically that's not illegal. You are supposed to stop.
Yeah, you stopped as hard as you could. That's pretty good.
Did no one come behind you and, like, honk at you, I guess? I guess it was maybe the wee hours of the morning.
Hey, man. Can't blame you for that. I was arrested. I went to jail.
Oh, no.
That's not a joke. That happened.
I know. I was being sincere in my oh no. Fuck off, Mario! Ah, crap.
No, Chelsea.
Ow. These guys are being mean to me. Tell them to cut that shit out. Ow!
Dang, Tia, what were you in for?
Wow, though.
This is your stage. You can't lose here.
I'm not the only Link, though. There are like 2 other Links.
Well, but you're the real Link, right? Aren't you the true Link?
Am I?
I thought you were.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, guap. Oh, shit. Oh. My brother was a 911 dispatcher for a while.
Hey, that blue shell opened up the secret.
Oh, yeah. Bah! Hey, you got exactly the middle.
I'm average, hooray! I don't like any of these.
Baby Park!
Let's hope
Baby Park! Baby Park. Baby Park. Boo.
Oh, another thing they changed in the movie was the heart attacks.
Oh, yeah.
That, like, wasn't a thing.
What was the thing for a minute?
I think one character had a heart attack. It, like, really wasn't clear if the rule was different in this version that you had to give someone a cause of death. Because, like, when Light first kills somebody, Ryuk is like, you gotta put in how.
Alright. He didn't even say you gotta. I mean, like, in this version, he was like, you can put in more. Wink. William Dafoe winked at us.
And, like, the whole reason Light does the heart attacks in the original is to get recognition for what he's doing. And I guess Light still gets recognition for all the gruesome deaths, but it seems really gratuitous. It seems more of the, oh, we're maybe a horror movie, so we want to show some sick death scenes.
Hey man, anyone could have made that flashlight mistake. To err is to be human. To destroy your butthole with glass is to be man.
What?
Our friend, little Tia Boy, was a dispatcher, you know?
Uh-huh.
And he got a call once from a fella who shoved a flashlight in his asshole.
Oh.
And the glass broke.
Oh dear. How'd the glass break?
Well, you know, your muscles in your butt are pretty strong.
No.
I'm so sorry, Chelsea.
Rude.
Oh shit, dog.
No!
Oh, what?
No!
What happened?
I was in first place this entire race. Oh, Mario Kart.
Mario Kart, baby.
Imagine if Christopher Nolan. I mean, I guess it would depend on if he read/watched the original source material. He might do a good job.
I think he might do a better job than what was done,
well,
but
yeah.
it'd probably still suck shit.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Listen, M. Night Shyamalan has already... M. Night Shyamalan has already made a bad adaptation. And I want to go on record in saying that The Last Airbender is worse than Death Note.
Just because it's boring?
It's way more boringer. So for what it's worth...
It's not a high bar.
It's not a high bar. But
hey, I guess...
It does exist.
I guess in our positive review for the Death Note movie, it is better than The Last Airbender and Twilight. For what that's worth. Hey, you took my items!
What a butthole.
So rude.
So rude. How much longer do you want to race cars?
What time is it?
It is almost 11.
Probably stop pretty soon. Is there more that we want to discuss about this?
I mean, I think we've beaten this dead horse to death.
Note. Yeah.
Great job.
I know.
You've done it.
That's why I'm...
That's why you bring in the big bucks.
Yeah. The Queen of Jokes.
Queen of Jokes.
Where's my Burger King crown?
If you want to go to Burger King, you can go. You want one of those long burgers that they got now?
They have long burgers now?
Yeah, dude.
I don't think I've been to a Burger King in literal years.
Last time I was at Burger King was about a year ago to eat their weird macaroni and cheese Cheeto thing. I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't good, but I was glad that I tried. I have had Whataburger because I am from Arizona, where that exists, and it is absolutely fabulous. But here in California, where I live currently, they do not have Whataburger, and I am very sad.
I don't know if I had Whataburger when I was in Arizona or not. In Cali, we have In-N-Out.
We have, well, that's true. Which is
alright.
Pretty much in Arizona now as well. We have Habit Burger.
Habit's pretty good.
Yeah, Habit's pretty dope.
We have Five Guys. I don't know if I've ever actually had.
You've never had Five Guys?
If I have, it's only been like once or twice, and it was a while ago.
Ooh, topical, baby. Tia says they have
the nation's largest water park in Texas. I mean, city in Texas.
Oh.
Good gravy.
Oop.
If you ever find yourself in NorCal, you should stop by Nations, which is a pretty provincial chain. But they got a fucking damn fine cheeseburger there.
It's a lot of shells.
Also in California, we have Jollibee, which has cheeseburger, or spaghetti, or fried chicken, whatever the fuck you want.
Jollibee?
Jollibee.
What is Jollibee?
Jollibee is a fast food restaurant that has cheeseburgers and spaghetti and fried chicken.
I've never been there.
There's definitely some in SoCal. But the only one I've ever been to is in Stockton.
Hmm. Oops.
It is amazing.
Not too bad.
Better than average.
Can you get a burger with spaghetti on it?
Probably. Sure, if you ask.
If you could get an actual good American Death Note live action adaptation, who would you want to direct it?
That's a hard question.
It is a hard question. Maybe, I can never pronounce his name. Guillermo del Toro?
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro would be pretty good.
I think he would do a decent job.
Yeah.
Ow.
I mean, he's making a new video game with... Or supposedly making a new video game with,
Kojima?
Hideo Kojima.
Mm-hmm. Ow.
With Mads Mikkelsen in it.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Me too. Although I don't know if it'll ever actually get made.
Yeah. That is the problem.
Yeah.
He's making a new movie now where a woman falls in love with a fish man.
That's cool.
He's not a merman, he's a fish man.
Sure, whatever you say.
And I think they're making a sequel to Pacific Rim.
Who is?
Del Toro.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for that. Ah!
Good job.
I do it.
How long do you
Ben
want?
from Star Wars. That's neat.
How long do you want to keep going?
Until 11:15.
All right.
It's like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's cool. Oh yeah, when's the next Star Wars coming out?
Tomorrow.
Oh boy. I don't really keep up with it.
Neither do I. I haven't seen the last Star Wars, so I have no idea.
Yeah. The Force Awakens.
The Force gets up from bed.
It's late for school.
The Force needs to get to school on time. Come on, Force.
Needs to bicycle or run to school with toast in its mouth. Now there's an anime for you.
There you go. The Force is a real human body. And it's late to anime high school.
It's late to anime Jedi school.
Oh no.
Dang it. There can be only one!
You can do it. You can still do it, probably.
Coin.
Oh god. Oh god. No, god. Oh, get a thing. Oh my god. No, god. What a piece of shit. Chelsea, no. No, Chelsea. No. No.
Oh, I did it. Close one.
You did it. Oh, you did it. Hell yeah, motherfucker.
Oh, your buddy's working on Star Wars? That's
Those
cool.
Other 5 pieces of shit didn't stand a fucking chance.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Two-person race.
1v1, babe. 1v1 me! 1v1 me! Yeah!
Okay.
1v1 me, motherfucker! You win!
I win. Boss. It's a boss fight.
Oh, shit.
Oh, he's another Link, too.
Fuck. Chelsea, you have to win.
Okay, I'll do my best. I wonder if he'll get good items or bad items, because he's in second place, but he's also in last place.
Good question. Well, you got 2 nanners, so I feel like you're sitting pretty. What happened to the other banana?
He threw a red shell at me.
No! No!
Got him.
You did it.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Fuck. Fuck. Shit.
Keep getting bananas.
It's great. That's good news.
No!
No! No!
Oh, wow,
What the?
though.
No!
Wow, though.
Fucking shit!
Literally at the last second. Wow. Mario Kart, everybody.
Fuck all video games forever.
Now there are 3 of us.
Bullshit. It's not a real video game. It's not real. It's not a real video. Fuck it. Fuck you. You
Look at his smug little
piece
face.
Of shit.
Look at
Motherfucker.
Look at his eyes. Yeah, bye.
Yeah, eat shit. I'm the real winner. Waiting for everyone to suggest a course. Only one course that matters. It's my course.
He's dead now, so I'm the true winner. Oh, 2 whole people.
Fuck him.
Yeah, he's probably like 6, and we're just like, fuck you! Yeah, he deserves it. He has to grow up sometime.
Damn, I was really hoping it'd be Baby Park.
I'm an adult!
Hey, is that our subscriber, Crispy?
Hmm?
There's someone in here, King Crispy.
I don't know, does Crispy K have Mario Kart?
I don't know, dude.
If it was him, it'd be a very big coincidence because I'm not friends with him on Switch.
Yeah.
Again, I was playing Splatoon, and Greta just happened to get someone he knew in Salmon Run, I think it was.
Mm.
So you never know. Oh, this is a mirror course. I was like, why does this look weird? Splatoon 2 is pretty good. That's why we play it every week. Uh-oh. Dang it.
Damn. Shows you can't be 3rd place. Not now. No. Fuck yeah.
did it.
Oh yeah.
And with that, last win of our 3-person race.
We did it. We're the best at Mario Party.
Having your Switch at work is one of the best parts about having a Switch.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, guys, thanks for hanging out.
Thanks for playing Mario Kart.
If you like listening to us rant about anime and nerd shit, come back. We do this every Monday.
We do it every Monday and sometimes other days, too.
And sometimes other days, too. And we play Splatoon every Saturday, and we do lots of other games. So... Oh, Greta! That's bad timing. Well, you're not in... Oh, wait, that is you. Okay. One more race. You versus me, Greta. I was hoping to end on a win.
Yeah, I was hoping that you'd end on a first place, but I feel like you're going to end on a last place now.
Now, that's not going to happen. I hope you're happy.
Good night, Chelsea. Say
okay, the last race was the last true ending race. This one is just for funsies with Greta. It's for you, Greta.
It's for funsies, as in...
Doesn't count
because you're about to lose.
It doesn't count. Greta with your question marks in your name because the Switch doesn't read it right. Maybe I'll pull what that guy did on this course when I was doing him 1v1.
Yeah! Yeah!
Yeah! What new items? Those items suck.
Hey, baby!
Or even is he? He's like really far ahead.
Yeah, you're getting owned.
I don't even know if I need to like watch my back because I don't know if he throws a shell if it'll even come back to me, around to me or not.
Probably not.
This doesn't help me.
Rest in peace. Oh, you're very close. If only you didn't get a fucking banana. Oh, you passed me. Oh shit, dog. Hell yeah, motherfucker!
Take that!
Hell yeah!
I just did what that other guy did to me a couple races ago.
You just blindsided him at the last minute.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for playing with me, Greta. And thanks everybody for hanging out.
Thanks for coming to our web zone.
See you next time.
Bye forever. I mean, see you next time.